What are the Bears, number 2 in offense this year?
2 in offense, and ironically, it's been mostly on the ground, and Sid Gilman is a great passing master, so you just never know what's going to happen.
2nd and 6 from the 40-yard line of New York. Moorhead is wide right, Robinson left, Hammond and Coter the running back. And Fencik going down the left side to Robinson. Oh! What a hit by Gary Fencik. Otherwise, he holds on to it, but Fencik knocked him loose from his senses.
You think he didn't? Woo!
Take a look at number 45, 6'1", 192-pound Gary Fencik, and he hit Robinson, who weighs 170, and almost knocked him to Jersey City.
But you see little old Jimmy Robinson, don't you?
Oh,
he's on his feet anyhow.
Watch Fencik lower the boom.
And I didn't know that Yale people could hit like that, but he's been doing it all year. Watch this. Oh, you can't blame him for dropping that one, can you?
That is a headache, isn't it?
That might be the hit of the year as far as games we've seen. It's Excedrin number 124 for Jimmy Robinson.
For the Cardinals.
Zarkowitz lots of time, and it is intercepted by Ellis. Ellis brings it back upfield. And he's knocked down at the 45-yard line of St. Louis by Theodis Brown.
Well, he threw into the double coverage as Plank came off his coverage, and you're going to see a hit on Mel Gray that is unbelievable by number 46, Doug Plank, as he's going for the ball. Here comes Ellis, and there comes Plank, 46. Did he level him? Alan Ellis takes off up the field. He's playing for the injured Virgil Livers, turns back, and the Chicago Bears have the ball once again. First down.
Stripe in Bears territory. Wide right goes Larry Mucker, number 87.
If they go up the middle, they won't make it.
Trying the short side, wide is Ricky Bell. Appears to be short of the first down. Hicks was there. So was Plank. They're going to be short.
1st and 10 at the 7. Here's a blitz. Mark Wilson in trouble and a safety. Doug Plank, among others, got to Mark Wilson, and there's a safety. And the Bears have upped their lead now to 23-6, and they'll get the ball. Doug Plank.
I think it was number 27 who's got the responsibility. He comes up there, he's got to hit that guy and keep him out. Plank ran right over him and made the safety. So great play by Doug Plank. Mark Wilson goes down. He got some help from Mike Hartenstein as the Bears get the safety and now take the lead 23-6. We'll be back with the Bears on top.
30. You'd like to see him throw an intermediate pass, a 10 to 12-yard pass is really what he needs to do.
Kevin House, the rookie from Southern Illinois, in there for Tampa Bay.
Incomplete. And he's looking for Jimmy Giles, and Bruce Herron was back there defensively, and Doug Williams is claiming he should see a flag. But Doug Williams is wrong. He should have intercepted the ball. He dropped the pass. Doug Williams complaining he should have had pass interference. Here we are from the end zone. Williams goes back. Got pretty good protection this time. He's going down the middle to his tight end Giles. Watch Herron there. Come to the screen. He had a chance at the interception. There was no interference there at all. That's Doug Plank, 46. That could have been goes around. That could have been what Doug Williams was complaining about. A late hit by Plank against Jimmy Giles, who of course very close friend, and Doug Williams, number 1 receiver. Now out comes Gary Trimmer.
You'll remember they got a break on a controversial interference call against Los Angeles, and that's the way they beat the Rams. But you don't get those every game.
Oh, Doug Plank did not make a bad play. He had to hit him. He didn't know whether he caught it or not. There wasn't the referees were absolutely right. And now
The center is really a good one. Here's a handoff. They go the other way. Look at him. Doug Plank hits him, but you pay when you hit the Earl. This time Campbell's a little slow getting out. Turn right, he's hurt.
Well, this is such a good lesson for all you young running backs. This is something that Earl very seldom is caught doing. He leaves the air, leaves the ground, goes over Towns. When your legs are in the air, you have no control of your situation. He got hit right on the thigh. His knee turned a little bit. He looks pretty healthy now, but that was a pretty good look.
They want to grow up to be cowboys.
White will throw on first down. And does to Drew Pearson. And Pearson is rocked by Doug Plank.
I'll tell you, that is the toughest thing in the world for a receiver. What just happened to Drew Pearson there. He has to expose himself, outstretched arms, and you have a safety like Doug Plank coming. Now watch this. You see he's led to the outside. He has a step here, but Doug Plank is outside. Now watch him as he stretches. You see that position there that he's in? He's completely exposed. He didn't feel it nor see it coming, and he had no protection at all.
Those two Bear safety men, both are fine tacklers. Tough. Plank and Fencik.
Drew Pearson is tough, too.
He sure is.
Watch this. Watch this. You see, he didn't feel it or see it coming. He wasn't in a position to tense to protect himself. One thing, he had that right arm down, so he didn't take that shot in the ribs.
Took it more on the shoulder.
Right.
Had a big day last week.
What did he tell you yesterday about the coffee?
Said Tom Landry got tired of the fact that he utilized him in that big day last week. Got tired of drinking that black coffee and decided to put some cream in it.
Soldier Field in Chicago. 8 minutes, 14 seconds to play in the first half. And the Bears, surprisingly enough, lead this one 7-3. Bounce 2 for 10 for 40 yards. Second and 8. Dan will put it in the air. Joyner, and he takes a shot. Gary Fencik is there, and Charlie's hurt.
Bill, I've been in this situation before, and what happened was that number 45, Gary Fencik, was just sitting back there waiting for something to develop, and they ran the same play they've run before, but they ran it successfully with Joyner coming over the middle. And as you can see, Joyner cannot see Fencik. Fencik just levels his shoulder pads and his helmet and shoulder pads down there, and Charlie gets it right in the face mask. Look at this. Oh.
Now Charlie is up and walking off the football field. 34 years old. 13th year out of Grambling, 4 touchdowns. What can you say about Charlie Joyner?
Well, he's a fabulous pass receiver. He's going off under his own power, which means he's okay. He'll get back in there, and the best way to get back at a defender is to beat him for 6 points. That's a great play on the part of Gary Fencik.
Opportunity for Curtis Jordan to come up with the pickoff. 2nd and 10. See whether that information holds up on this series. What a catch by Monk. He dropped the ball, and it is ruled incomplete. Marshall picked it up. The crowd here thinking that it should have been a reception and a fumble recovery by Wilbur Marshall. Leslie Frazier put the hit on Art Monk, and it is ruled incomplete. A circus try by Monk. Had the ball in the air, but didn't have it when he came down to the ground, and an injured player for the Redskins is number 69, R.C. Thielman.
Okay, and that is the key as to whether Monk, as you'll notice, Theismann kind of throws into the coverage. A linebacker almost tips it. He makes a super grab, and then there's the contact. And when he comes down, boom, the ball is jolted loose. I'd have to say that it's a correct call by the officials.
4:26 remaining first period. The Redskins 7, the Bears nothing. And they've made big plays at big times. It certainly had a lot to do. If you look at the rest of their stats, defensively and offensively, you have to wonder, how did they win 5 football games, and how did they beat the likes of Dallas, Miami, and the 49ers? Well, they've been opportunistic, and they have been here as well. James Jones breaks loose for the first down, and without Gary Fencik to trip him up, he'd be in the end zone.
Nice play by the Lions.
as Jones kept his eyes open. It was supposed to be a little bit more inside, and he dips outside the Otis Wilson coming down, and Fencik has a big man to stop here. He goes low and tips him right on his head, but not before Jones got the first down. Nice play by the Lions. James Jones, 14 rushes.
Chicago's Todd Bell joins easily at safety. Often positioned as a linebacker, Bell, number 25, played the most demanding role on the number 1 defense in pro football. He was in equal parts a run stuffer, a blitzer, and a cover man. The main man and defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan's aggressive system.
That's Buddy Ryan's defense. Take it to him and just really give him everything that we got. That type of philosophy. And I enjoy it. It's my type of football.
Playing so many different roles so well made Bell the most versatile safety in the NFL.
Well, there as he beat the block by Joe Bostic. So, as you can see so far, the Cardinals have not been able to move the ball on the ground at all. They really haven't got a significant gain on the ground. It's been all passing, and they'll sometimes get yards on you when they can't make their running game work. So as you can take a look at the offense and the defense, this is a classic confrontation.
Second down, there was a loss of about a half yard, and there is a bigger one here as Todd Bell puts the sack on Neil Lomax with the safety blitz. And, of course, Bell sometimes lines up as a linebacker, so to call it a safety blitz sometimes is a misnomer. Let's see where he was here.
Yes, he comes right through the gap, and there's nobody to pick him up. As you can see, everybody is occupied, and Todd Bell gets through slick and clean. The only one that could have hit him was Earl Farrell coming out of the backfield on the draw play, and Todd Bell makes the sack. And we were talking to the St. Louis Cardinals, Jim Hannafin. He said the thing we have to do is pick up the funny way that they blitz in their 46 defense, and at that time they did not do it. Even when they have enough men, the Bears are crisscrossing quite a bit and confusing that offensive line, as you know, that has moved a lot of people around. This is getting brutal.
Third down, way back at the 32-yard line. Manning is hit again by Bell. Ron Sams again with another poor snap. Manning took a real shot from Bell. That is 10 sacks this afternoon for the Chicago Bears, a new club record in that department, and nobody had a hand on Bell.
Slick and clean. Archie Manning's Buddy Ryan, the Bears defensive coordinator, who has masterminded the blitzes that have worked so well this year, and Chicago has 10 sacks. That's a new Bears record, and the Bears defense number 1 in the league, number 1 in run defense, and who knows, they may be number 1 in pass defense after this game is over. Buddy Ryan.
Range. From this point, he's looking at a 50-yard field goal. From the shotgun on third down, Theismann again, big rush on him, gets it away. Washington is really clobbered. Let's see if it's ruled an incompleted pass or a fumble.
It's an incomplete pass.
Todd Bell, number 25, the safety came in and lowered the boom on little Joe Washington, who's being helped to his feet. He took a tremendous shot.
They called that a fumble? I hope some official saw that the way we saw it.
They are calling it apparently a fumble.
I didn't see it that way.
They're giving the football to the Bears on a fumble recovery. Watch it again.
Here, you see Joe back in the shotgun. You see people coming after him. Everybody picked up inside. Rick there picks up a guy. Now he moves out there. There's the ball. Ooh, boy, I'll tell you. Was that a vicious hit? I don't know if that was a completed pass or not. Let's see. Let's take another look now. Joe's sliding to his left. He's looking for Joe. Joe moved to the inside. Hartenstein, number 73, was out there on him. Now here he comes. It looks like he had the ball long enough to be called a fumble. Definitely. Good call by the officials.
And the Bears recovered the fumble and will have the football 1st and 10 at their 38 when we come back right after this.
For 12 years, Gary Fencik was a receiver's nightmare. The dapper Yale man off the field, Fencik played with vintage Bear ferocity and retires as Chicago's all-time leading interceptor and tackler. Fencik was a genuine overachiever, and in the season's final week, he rejoined the starting defense to face the Raiders. Face the Raiders. 9 sacks later, the Bears were 6-3 winners in a game dominated by the defense. The playoffs and a hard lesson lay ahead.
For Doug Plank, the head coach for Philadelphia, coming into this game 0 for 4 in Arena Bowls, and it's now going to be 0 for 5. I'm sure this one is going to sting for quite a while.
I want to tell you thanks for a great season. I mean, this is the most fun that I've had coaching in my life, and it was because of each and every one of you. I know everybody's disappointed. I don't even know what words to use right now.
At age 59, Doug Plank is still looking for his first football championship on any level. He played 8 seasons with the Bears and never won a playoff game. But to the top defensive minds in the sport, Plank's place in football history will always be one of the most celebrated.
Oh, please. Doug Plank, well, obviously he is a ferocious hitter. The thing that I remember most about Doug Plank is he never left anybody standing. You could have the ball or not. He was going to come over that pile. He was going to hit somebody.
Well, Doug did this. So, and that was in practice, and I was his teammate. He would play the game very hard. And he was all about hitting you as hard as he could.
There was no doubt in my mind when you played against the Bears, the heart and soul was Doug Plank. Doug Plank hit me on a scramble. It was game over for me.
Look out, man. You better come
I know. You're right. It's a lot of pressure.
This year, Ron Jaworski teamed up with Plank, first in the Arena League, and then to discuss how Plank's style of play would be viewed in today's NFL.
It probably wasn't the best there. I think this is probably a penalty today, too.
Oh, no. You're not getting away with this one. Uh-oh.
Oh! Hey, it was a different era. What can I say? It was pre-global warming and all that kind of stuff.
Since Franco was heading back to the huddle, it's probably a little bit late, I think.
Look, no penalty flag.
Some of us would pay the price because I had guys chasing me off the field after extra points thinking I was Doug Plank.
At Ohio State, Plank was far from sought after. He started only 5 games and played primarily special teams. His standout performance came at Northwestern, just north of Chicago.
I didn't realize that at the time, 2 Chicago Bears scouts came to that game.
Chicago then drafted Plank in the 12th round to cover punts and kickoffs.
And then the free safety gets injured in one of the preseason games. They asked me, Doug, have you ever played free safety? Of course I've played free safety. I've done it all my life. I had never played free safety before. By the time the preseason was done, I was the starting free safety for the Chicago Bears.
Plank led the Bears in tackles and was near the top in interceptions. But his unique place in NFL history happened after the arrival of defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan.
Buddy came to Chicago and he looked at what we had.
That's what I want to do. Well, wait a minute, I want to get something straight, baby.
And we were not really a very good football team. And he said, what can I do to manufacture, to create pressure on the quarterback? And on the board, he had this scheme. I have to tell you, I don't think one person in the room thought that this thing would even work. I think it was Otis Wilson, our linebacker. He said, Buddy, what are you going to call this? He circled my number 3 times. He said, we're going to call this the 46 defense.
It's named after Doug Plank just because he, had that jersey number. They just put it in because they brought Doug down basically playing a linebacker position, and that's why he called it the 46.
Now, no one jumped up, came over, started slapping me on the back saying, Doug, this is fantastic. This thing is going to take the Bears to the Super Bowl.
I mean, we didn't really give it much thought. He had a lot of coverages and a lot of things named after a number of different players on the defense.
One of the jobs that I had done in the off-season, I was a Culligan water softener repairman. And guess what? Their water softener was not working well. Basically, within a few minutes, it was up and running, and he was so happy. So I always laugh. Maybe that was the difference between having it called the 46 defense or the 24 defense, because Jeff was right next to me just a few feet away.
Ryan unleashed the 46 defense midway through the 1981 season against the highest scoring team in the league, the San Diego Chargers.
It had to be one of the biggest upsets that year in the National Football League. Statistically, I know that was one of Dan Fout's worst days.
The Hall of Fame quarterback was 13 for 43 with 2 interceptions, and the Bears won. But it wasn't until 1985 that the 46 defense received national recognition.
You have a basic defense here you call a 46. What is that, Coach? What do you try to do with it?
You know, offensive coaches, they like to think they're good. They run people over the field and put them in motion and do all this, and they want you to stand over and let them do what they want to. They don't like it when you don't.
The 1985 Bears allowed just over 12 points per game, shut out their first 2 playoff opponents, and crushed the Patriots in Super Bowl 20, a game where the Bears scored exactly 46 points.
It's hard to argue that 85 defense wasn't the greatest defense of all time.
The 46 defense was immortalized, but number 46 was long gone. He had retired following the 1982 season, and by 1985 was spending most of his time managing his fast food business.
I did not get a chance to even watch every one of those playoff games because some of those days I was actually working at the restaurant.
Plank did follow the travels of Buddy Ryan, and in 1994, Plank found himself literally at a crossroads.
I was driving to a Burger King restaurant that I own in Tempe, Arizona, and I hear on the radio, Buddy Ryan's the new head coach, general manager of the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm thinking, do I want to get on there and congratulate Buddy, or should I go back and help in the drive-thru? Nobody else named the defense after my jersey number. I said, you know what? I at least owe him the respect to go down there and congratulate him. That's what I did. 5 minutes later, I was offered an announcing position for the Arizona Cardinals, and I started realizing how much I loved this game of football.
Plank was an assistant with the Jets when Rex Ryan first became head coach.
Why didn't you get deep? You weren't deep?
No, I'm pushing him in. We're going to try to be down low, trying to run him with.
I see.
And he's coached 8 seasons in arena football.
It's ridiculous. This is what really struck me once I became a coach. I don't remember ever crying in my life. Let's go, B-Rob. Let's go. Let's go, Sam. But working with people and then having it culminate in a football game that you actually win. Yeah! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! B-Rob, man, go! I mean, literally tears many times roll down your face. Oh, way to go, Perk, man. Awesome work. Way to go, Joe. I don't know of any other business that you get that same sort of a reaction from.
In the NFL, Doug Plank's number, name, and the defense he helped create live on.
Hey, I'm thinking about playing 46 with 0. Let those safeties play down.
Perk, pleasure to have you on your board.
In arena football, Plank will coach at age 60 in Orlando to tackle the one goal that has eluded him.
I've got a message to tell football players this day. Shock your system. Take it to the limit. Don't give us 50% effort or 75% effort. Give us 100%. When I came in here, undersized, not fast enough, not big enough, Doug Plank survived in the National Football League because he brought his A game every day.
The impact Plank made as a player is undeniable.
This is what we call 46-5 blitz.
But of all the things he's received credit for, should this hit on Ron Jaworski be one of them?
Is that Doug?
That might have been Gary.
It's Fencik.
Yeah. See, I'm innocent once again.
Coach, I apologize.
I am not guilty of the crime.
I apologize.
I feel so much better now. See,
I can tell you're beaming. You're upset it wasn't you.
I started learning how to deal with concussions. I would take a ton of aspirins before the game even started. I don't know if that would help me. I would put smelling salts in my socks, in my pants. So I already had the smelling salts out there.
I remember asking someone, I understand the Bears are going to practice. Hey, they're right down the road at Ferry Hall. And you're going, excuse me, I'm looking for the Chicago Bears. They go, no, that's where they're at. An abandoned girls prep school. That was, you talk about facilities and what a difference that was.
You just think about what the NFL, you thought it was, and then all of a sudden you're there and you're just so
disappointed. We used to practice on a public park, right? One of our fields was a public park.
The public park.
And, people would just be, walking their dogs. It doesn't get any better than this.
That was tough. That was those were good years though, because it always put things in perspective. And so I was very fortunate. I got there. Jack Pardee was his first year, and I found out real quickly. I did some investigation on Jack. Jack was a tough guy. He beat cancer when he played, and I knew that he just liked tough guys and people that like to hit people. And so I kept thinking, okay, I've been on special teams for 3 years at Ohio State, and I was really good on a kickoff team. And you're running full speed down there, and you're not really trying to tackle anybody. You're just trying to blow people up. Yeah. And so when I had my opportunity, somewhere around the second or third week in camp that year, Gary Lyle gets an injury. And they asked in practice, hey, any of you guys play free safety? Because they didn't really draft a free safety. Gary, I never played free safety. I signed and go, I did it.
So you were playing strong safety?
I was playing strong safety.
Oh.
And I remember being over there at the strong safety, and Leonard Waterscheid would play free safety. Wow, this is a different world.
Yeah.
I mean, now all of a sudden, you're guarding tight ends on pass plays. You're in the middle.
And that guard pulling, wasn't it?
The guard pulling. Oh, man. I learned that when Buddy, introduced the 46 defense, and then all of a sudden, you're a linebacker, and you have to take on pulling guards. And I remember one time in Green Bay, I got hit by a pulling guard. Gary, I thought I was electrocuted. And they gave the ball to the running back, and he ran right by me. And I'm trying to go like this. I couldn't turn my body. I mean, that is when I thought, you know what? This is the beginning of the end. There's little telltale signs like that let you know your body is screaming and saying, get me off the field. I can't take this anymore. And I don't want to say this is about making business decisions and all those sort of things. But, let's face it. How many players have gone through the NFL all the way through the end of their life? None. Zero. None of them. So there's a long period of time once your career is over that you're going to have to be a regular human being. You're going to have a job. You're going to have to go out there and get a paycheck and buy a car and live in a house and do all those sort of things. And the NFL can certainly help you, but at the same time, when you're going through and damaging your body, you're thinking, okay, what am I going to have left?
When I see guys like, was it Robert Smith, the running back from Minnesota, where he just said, I've had enough. You know what? I really could understand that, and people go, oh, you're making all this money and all that. When you find out there's a time where it comes where you go, it's like an on-off switch. I think I've switched off and I can't go back on. But, Doug, we played a different style, but it was a different era. But, looking at what's happened to Dave Duerson and some other athletes that we know, would you do it again?
I think about it because, now we all know what the consequences are. And, so you start thinking about the repercussions of it. And, concussions for me went way back. I think the first concussion I remember was in junior high. And
really?
It was, I just had a severe headache. It wasn't anything visual, but it was a severe headache after.
From football?
From football. So for me, in terms of the risk, we certainly didn't know anything about what they do today. I know what it felt like. I could, but the crazy thing is, I started learning how to deal with concussions. I would take a ton of aspirins before the game even started. I don't know if that would help me. I would put smelling salts in my socks, in my pants. So I already had the smelling salts out there. And the other thing is, okay, you're not playing it at 100%, but maybe you're ratcheting it down to 70% or 60%, and you're staying deep. I was the free safety, so I'm the deepest guy in the defense, and you can run around for a couple quarters, kind of get your senses back.
And I know nobody wants to go to the sideline because you don't want your backup, who might be 4 years younger than you and making half of what you're making, getting that opportunity. That's what I got. I got an opportunity because you got injured, right? Yep. You don't want anybody to ever do that. But the question about whether you do it again, I don't have any problems right now, but it doesn't mean that, what if 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, you go, oh, you're starting to have problems. You're going to blame it only on football? I don't know.
I think you and I know too many guys, too, that certainly some people have suffered some consequences as a result of concussions. I do say this, I think we're all different. Each of us can sustain concussions, separated joints, other things. And others, I read these articles about these young kids that play football like one game or 1 year, and all of a sudden they have this spatial disorientation after getting one concussion. They just can't recover. They can't get their balance back. I mean, it's a horrific story. I do think, parents wanting their children to be mimicking tackle football at the ages of 8, 9, 10, way too soon. I know what happened in my family. No one really understood or knew what the consequences were, but I would have a really hard time sending my 8, 9, 10-year-old son out there playing tackle football, repetitively getting hit in the head.
The NFL could have such a great role in being a leader on this issue, and instead it's the head in the sand.
I mean, I don't think anybody wants to see, cutbacks in terms of NFL rules and regulations and stuff like that. But a few changes in football, I think, make it more entertaining, make it more fan-friendly.
Hopefully, people, parents, coaches, if you are playing sports at a younger age, that they're a lot more diligent on really monitoring and not trying to be macho and say, hey, you got to tough this out. Really saying, hey, look, hopefully we have better tools to be able to address that and make it easier for people to say, a simple test, hey, I'm looking at your eyes, or, they're going to have sensors in the helmets. They will create better awareness, I hope, for any type of concussion. Maybe there's a, pounds per square inch. If you get a blow over whatever, you got to come out regardless.
I don't know how many guys are out there like you and I that could play together that long and that have many tackles and hits and things like that.
Let's do it this way, Doug. If either one of us gets CTE, there's not anybody going to go, really? Oh, what a shock. I mean, they're not. But I do know that, at the Bears alumni dinner where people used to talk about, hey, I hear you, I remember seeing you. I never knew that you could even get an artificial shoulder. Oh, yeah, I got 2 of them. But now nobody talks about those. It's like, hey, how many concussions do you remember getting? And that's changed the entire dialogue. And I'm sure that players today are thinking about it a lot more. This is almost like, why do you wear a seatbelt in a car? Well, there are precautions that you can take to hopefully increase the chance of not having something like this happen. One thing that I did a couple of years ago was I donated my brain to the Concussion Legacy Foundation. It was a pretty easy decision, to be honest with you, for a couple of reasons. One, I plan on getting cremated, so what else am I going to do with the brain? But two, I think more importantly, you hear of all these stories of all the NFL players, 99% of them have some problems. Well, I don't think everybody who has played in the NFL comes up screwed up. And so I'm happy to hopefully be a positive for someone who did play for 12 years. Hopefully I don't have any problems before I pass away. And really hope that will lead to better research and hopefully some solutions that we've been talking about.
Gary, I saw that story and it moved me, it motivated me. I almost had tears in my eyes when I read it. I'm going down the same route. I will be ashes and toast at the end of my life. And the Concussion Legacy Foundation, I think they do so many good things. And I think what really motivated me the last couple years is having fellow teammates that I know are being affected by this disease, and it's so compelling afterwards. You know, these were your teammates and your friends and people that you came to work with and drove together, and all of a sudden you could tell that they're just struggling right now, and you just feel like, I want to do something. And I feel like this is the best thing that anybody could possibly do, especially players like yourself and myself that have suffered injuries, a lot of head trauma, things like that. I just think that, you know, this could possibly, you know, set the example for even other players behind us to be able and willing to do the same thing.